right, welcome back. Joining us is Dr. Joanne Kennedy with the Children's Hospital Navicin Health. Dr. Kennedy, we're talking fever in kids, particularly infants and children. Let's start with if you're a parent and you're kind of monitoring your child's temperature, at what point does it reach dangerously high?
So it depends a little bit on the age of the baby.
Okay.
Let me first start by saying that parents shouldn't fear fever. Fever is a sign that something else is going on, so it's a signal that you might want to check in with your doctor. But the fever in and of itself is not harmful, and in fact may help your child fight an infection. But again, as I said, it depends a little bit on the age of the baby, so we take fever in young infants very seriously. So if your baby is 3 months or younger and has a fever of, we consider fever 100.4, if it's 100.4, which doesn't sound very high, but in a young baby that could signal a serious infection. So if your baby is under 3 months, has a fever of 100.4 or higher, that's time to call your doctor, and in fact your baby's going to need to be seen.
Okay.
If your baby's a little bit older, say 3 to 6 months, then we're going to be a little bit more open about the fever and might let it go as high as 102. But if your baby is between 3 and 6 months, has a fever greater than 102, or it's been going on for longer than 3 or 4 days, or if at any time your baby just looks ill to you, we really go on parental gut feelings. So if your baby doesn't look right or is very lethargic, again, that might be a time to call your pediatrician. Again, when the baby gets a little bit older, 6 months to a year, we might let the fever go as high as 104. But again, if it's been going on for longer than 3 or 4 days, your child looks otherwise ill, isn't perking up, isn't eating well, then you need to check in with your pediatrician.
And generally, fevers are things that require more parental care than going and seeking a hospital, usually with just moderate temperatures that are higher than usual.
Correct.
Are there preventative methods that parents can take when they see that their kid's temperature is rising?
So first, the most important prevention is to make sure that your child's immunizations are up to date.
Okay.
And because that's going to prevent your child from getting many of the serious illnesses that might cause fever, including influenza, and the flu vaccine is now available for this season. Children from 6 months and older should receive a flu vaccine. So that's the most important prevention.
Okay.
Again, if your child has a fever but they otherwise look well, and they're 6 months or older, you're going to do some home care. Encourage fluids. When you have a fever, you sweat more and you lose more fluids. You want to keep them hydrated. Dress them lightly, so don't bundle them up, because that alone can raise your temp a little bit.
But they should still, continuously monitor the temperature, like you said, because if it gets up over 104, you'd probably send them to a hospital. What kind of things then would the hospital take to bring it back down? So
we might use some medications, fever reducers like acetaminophen or Tylenol, and ibuprofen, which would be Motrin or Advil. We don't use Motrin or Advil in children younger than 6 months. Again, we might use Tylenol, but if your baby is younger than 3 months, we want you to check with your pediatrician about the dose of the Tylenol.
Okay, gotcha. Well, thank you, Dr. Kennedy, for coming
welcome.
on. Some good tips and tricks for you parents out there as we reach flu season and going into these colder months. Coming up, we'll have more news for you on Daybreak. Stay with us.